Alrighty, boys and girls, so I got this thing to stumble and backfire its way into my garage here, and now I am ready to start diagnosing performance issues. So, first suspect on my list is the ignition system. The control module is hooked up directly to the coil. The resistor or anything isn't hooked up. Not sure if that affects anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some resistance tests on the coil and the ignition module to see if they're in range. I put a timing light on it real quick. It is at 10 degrees before top dead center, so it is timed correctly. I did take the coil wire off and turn it over, and it got a decent spark. It was an orange spark. It was still a decent sized spark, so at this point it's just making sure everything is functioning within range. I also noticed there's a wire dangling down here. Usually this goes to a ground on a distributor. I don't know if that's relevant or not to this 280ZX system it's got in here, but let me get my multimeter and we will begin. Okay, so to test this coil, put one end of your multimeter into the fire output, I guess, and one on the positive terminal, and yep, that's what we got, which is in range. It's a little on the lower side, but less resistance is better than more resistance, I suppose. But yeah, that is in range, so the coil should be okay. Now on to the ignition module. Alright, so this one's going to be hard to test and film at the same time, so I'm just going to test it and I'll let you know the results. Actually, maybe I'll do this. Let's see if I can prop this up against the... Oh! Well, ain't that nifty. Alright, we'll just do that. Huh. That's weird. My multimeter is not picking up anything. I mean, I know this thing's not completely dead, because if it were, it wouldn't be firing the coil at all, but I don't know, this is weird. I can't seem to get any... Oh, wait, oh, there we go. Oh, come on. Okay, well, let me bump it up a little bit so I can get... Okay. Alright. 2 1/3 we'll call it. So let me look up the specs on that, and we'll determine if that is in range or not. Alright, well, some surprising news. So that reading is in range. Check the factory service manual. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what year of L28 this distributor came off of. It could have even been a 280Z. But I just used the 1980 version of the factory service manual, and it seems to be coming in with range. So, I mean, I guess that is ruled out. I mean, I already checked, but the cap and rotor is in good shape. As you can see, there's really not much wear on the cap. The stator isn't being worn down. It's not contacting the rotor. Inside of the cap looks a little worn, but not too bad at all. And yeah, all the connections in there are good that go to the ignition module. I don't know, it's really strange. I don't know, maybe I'm looking at more of a fuel issue or something. I mean, what's interesting is that there's no fuel filter whatsoever. I mean, I checked all the way back to the fuel pump, there's no fuel filter, but I mean, if it was running lean, it wouldn't be spewing black smoke out the exhaust. So let me do a little research on this, and maybe it has something to do with the carburetors. I don't know, but let's see what I can find out. Alright, so I've done a bit of research. One thing I learned was that there are 2 knobs on the bottom of each carburetor that adjusts fuel mixture, and the more they're turned in, the richer they are. The more they're turned out, the leaner they are. But I also read that after sitting for a long time, and especially in hot, dry places where this car sat, I guess the needles can get stuck in their upward position, and whilst the throttles are closed, it's still getting in that same amount of fuel, causing it to choke out. And there's only one way about fixing this, and that's disassembling the carburetors. So I think what I'm going to have to do is disassemble the carburetors and see if we can find any gunk that might be causing these things to flood the engine. Okay, so I think I can get away with taking these carb domes off without taking the intake apart. So it looks like it's just 4 screws. Alright, well, I'll need 2 hands to take this off. I think I gotta take these little dipsticks out first. Yeah, there's actually oil for your carburetors. Alright. Okay, interesting. Let's see, let me put this dome aside and we can... So we have a large spring. I guess this is for the throttle. So we'll put that aside. And I guess it just lifts out. Ooh, you know what? That actually smells like old gas. Huh. Well, this is interesting. Alright. So I got both the needle valves out, I guess. They both seem to be the same type. And the needles look to be in decent shape. This one was a bit dirty on the top, but so I'll clean a little bit of that off. And this one here, which is the one closest to the firewall, looks even better. So I don't think that these are sticking, or were sticking. So I don't know if there's anything else that could be causing fuel to go through. It looks like there's a little bit of grime built up around the inside of the jet, but the jet does look clear, which doesn't matter too much because it's not that it's not getting enough fuel, it's that it's getting too much fuel. So I'm going to do a little more Googling and see if there's anything else that could be sticking in this thing, maybe on the bottom of the carburetor, that could be causing this. So I just learned something else. Just to start things out at a base, I've had the carburetor adjusting jet position nuts below all the way unscrewed, which is all the way lean, so we can have a starting point. We can work our way richer from there if need be. So let's put these back together and make some adjustments. Got these little bastards put back together. Now, according to this SU site, screwing it up, as they say, or counterclockwise from my position, so turning it this way, will make the mixture leaner. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to quite figure out the mixture and everything. All the information I have, or all the information I can get for the most part on adjusting these, is based on the true British SU carbs, and these, like I said, they're Hitachi. I have the mixture knobs down all the way, just in case the floats are sticking or something. I'm going to pour a whole bottle of seafoam in this tank. So that's another thing. Float bowls, they might be sticking. I'd only be able to determine that by taking everything apart, taking the carbs out completely. Unfortunately, I can't do that now because I will need to replace the gaskets, which I don't have, and just I don't have enough time tonight to do that. So for now, pour some seafoam in, fire her up, and see if it runs any different. Alright, it's even got this little flap here to protect fuel from getting on the paint. But in with the seafoam. That was quick. Alright, put the cap back on, fire it up, let it run, and I don't know, see what happens. Oh, I got no dash illumination either for some reason, but that'll be for another time. Alright, make sure we're in neutral. Still lumpy. Actually, that's revving a little better. That's actually better. Oh yeah, it's running better, that's for sure. Oh yeah, it's still rich as hell. Alright, let's turn this thing off before I friggin' choke out the whole garage. Okay, well, some improvement. It actually seems to be revving a little bit better. So that's good. Okay, so maybe you're going to a step in the right direction. So yeah, stay tuned for when it's light out. Alright guys, so it's day 2 of getting the 240Z running right. And what I'm doing right now is I got a excerpt from the factory service manual here, and I'm going to just try to get all of the carb settings as close to factory as possible, because that's what they recommend I do before I try with tweaking with the bowls or the needles or anything like that. So all these throttle adjustments, the balancing screws, that, and the knobs on the bottom, screw them all the way in and then out 1.5 turns and start from there. However, I did notice that this plunger likes to stick up a little bit, which is probably not optimal, and that might be a cause of some of the running issues. So I'm going to go through my list here and put all of these little settings at factory and then see how it runs from there. So I noticed something that could be very, very crucial to the way this car is running. Down here on the bottom of the carb, this little, I think this is called the needle seat, was stuck all the way down, like in the choke position, like it was just seized there. So how it's supposed to move is when you put the choke on, it's supposed to move up and down to let more fuel in, but this one was stuck all the way down, and it was really stuck. I had to use both hands to pull the needle back up into the seat. So that might have been an extreme contributor onto the running issues of this car. So I'm going to finish making some adjustments. I'm going to fire it up and we're going to see how it runs. Alright, everything is adjusted per factory, so let's start her up and see what we got. Holy shit! Okay, well it's idling really smooth now for the most part. Whoa, it's idling really good. Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh wait, it's leaning out a little bit now. Alright, it's smooth, but it's shaking still. Oh, feels a little lean. Okay. It's idling a little rough, but it's smooth. Oh, wait a minute. There's an issue. Check that out. That's better right off the bat. Still a bit rich, but it's running a lot better. Let's see if she'll take any throttle. Oh, man. All right, so I think got her dialed in a little better. She's still running rich, and this carb is still sticking open. So f it, I want to drive this thing. So let's see what we got. This foot doesn't line up. All right, idling at about 1,000 RPM. I got one of these janky door panels on it. I cannot adjust the seats, so I'm in this friggin' lowrider position here. But let's see if we can go up and down the street a couple times. Okay, well we are moving. Oop, doesn't like full throttle. Oh shit. Did you guys hear that? I think I might have left a tool on this thing somewhere. Let's pull over and see what the hell I dropped. Aha! Well, would you look at that? Okay, where were we? Hopefully no more tools will spontaneously fall out of this thing. You can tell that carb is stuck open right now.
carb stuck open again. I can feel it. Oh, there we go. Both carbs. Oh, hey, it pulls. Oh, that felt good. L26. Blinkers are working. And we are back. All right, let's make sure nothing came loose and make sure there's no gas spilling everywhere, because where the gas goes is right above the exhaust. All right, this is excellent. Next trip I'm going to take in this thing is to the gas station. All right, off to the gas station we go. First gear is really tall on this thing. Steering's pretty tight on this thing. Starting to run out of gas. Oh, we're almost there. Come on, baby. All right, well, we made it, and we are running on fumes. So let's get some gas in this thing and go home. All right, we got 3 gallons in the tank. Now let's head home. I say that is mission successful. I don't have all the tools to balance the car completely. I think it's still running a tad rich at idle, and it might be leaning out when I hit the throttle, but I have a synchronizer on the way, a flow meter that will help me dial in. I'll probably have to get a new needle and a nozzle seat for that rear carburetor that's sticking. But I mean, so far, so good. She's running, she's driving, and she goes sideways. Sweet.